Okay, so this is the third time that we've tried to film this. The very, very first time that we did this, we were in the kitchen, and it was perfect.
Mm-hmm. But there were no cameras.
We had the microphone. We were just playing with the microphones.
Yeah.
We were letting the kids try it, and we just wanted to see how it sounded. And this is before I knew anything that I know now. Even what I know now is very little still. But it's a lot. I know more. But the first time that we did it was perfect.
Well,
and we did it the second time at the shop, which was the first official try. And then after that, you've been so busy with your schedule that you haven't had time to do the damn thing.
I couldn't pencil you in.
So here we are now. And coincidentally, it landed on my 15, or I like to consider our 15th year anniversary of me tattooing. And I'm talking about from the first time I touched needle to skin. I don't even, who was that? Was it Josh? No, it was Jesse Magana. I'm sorry.
Jesse Magana, yeah.
And I went to high school with that guy. To this day, I told him, hey, bro, if you want a tattoo, I got you. Like, I'm going to give him a free piece for sure. Not a sleeve, but definitely something cool. Yeah, I gotta do something for him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy that it doesn't seem like it's been that long, honestly.
No.
Like, okay, I'm not going to be able to do it if you keep doing this whole...
Okay, I'm not doing that. You're fucking up the vibe now.
No, because it, like, throws me off.
Do you need the volume up higher on yours at all?
I don't think so. I think I'm okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Well, I'm trying to mess with this, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I landed on the 15-year anniversary. We're finally here doing it. This time, this is the one. I don't clip out whatever I got to clip out. I don't care. We're not doing this again. This is it.
Yeah.
So 15 years later, and here we are. We have 2 kids, beautiful, talented kids. I'm tired all the time.
You work a lot.
For sure. I work all the time. I do love my job, but it gets a little much sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And
does. For everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
It takes up all of our lives, not just yours.
It sucks because there's a lot of times where I think people don't understand that I'm not there a lot. Mm-hmm. But I think more now I am. Mm-hmm. I still miss stuff. Not the important stuff like recitals and shows. If the kids start playing sports, for sure I'll be there for that. But
oh gosh, could you imagine working that in? That's like 2 dedicated days a week.
I mean, it is what it is. Like,
that would be insane.
If I had to do it, I'd do it.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, trying to work that around your schedule. They're not allowed to start until next year if they do something like that. Your schedule's already spoken for the rest of the year.
And that's crazy. Like, I remember there was a point in time where we talked about not booking out more than 2 months at a time. Remember that? Mm-hmm. That didn't last. No. I think COVID really ramped all that back up.
Yeah. I think too, because like the shop was closed, you weren't working for so long during COVID, and you had to reschedule like a bunch of clients, that last year for sure you were like playing catch up basically. Like the last 2 years, really.
Yeah, definitely.
And then this year, when we thought you were going to slow it down a little, it seems like it just went running crazy.
Well, I just feel like it was, I constantly, I don't feel it no more, but COVID was so messed up for us that it made me feel like I was also playing catch up because we lost so much money and we went through our savings and all this and that to survive. And when I got back to work along with every tattooer in the world, I know that it was like that feeling of like, okay, it's time to get it. Like, I got to go get it. Mm-hmm. I got to make that. I got to work every day. There was a point where I worked like 6 days a week again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but ever since you got Bell's palsy, it's not allowed.
Yeah. I tell my clients that, like, they know about the Bell's palsy.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to talk about it sometimes because it brings back that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a lot of people know that I had it. I might have talked about it once or twice online because I remember after I had Bell's palsy the first time, this side,
Mm-hmm.
I canceled and like a couple people because
yeah.
I got over it. But then I would have like these weird episodes.
Well, and you had that nerve pain too in your ear for a really long time.
Yes.
And that happened the first time. The second time you didn't have it. The first time you had it where you were extremely sensitive to any sound. You were wearing headphones, like in the house even. It was a lot.
So that's, yeah. The first time I had it, it lasted about 9 months. It was crazy. 9 months, close to a year. Because I remember, okay, get ready for this one, guys. I had it twice.
Yeah.
Like literally, me and Jose were in Texas. And it was like almost to the day.
No, it was almost to the day. It
A
was,
year later.
yeah. Which was insane. And then when you first had it, you just thought it was an allergic reaction. And then when you woke up after taking Benadryl, you woke up from a nap and your face wasn't working, half of it. And then you were like, oh no, it's nothing. It's nothing. And I'm like, no, we need to go to the hospital.
No, it was when that happened. I do remember we were like, I don't know if I was eating leftover sushi or we ordered it, but that's what I was eating. And I remember this because I had the chopsticks in my hand and I tried to put the food in my mouth and my lips on this side didn't open.
I think it was
like,
the leftovers
yeah,
because
this was
you
in the
were,
morning.
yes, but the day before you were with Jose and
Yeah.
you were, I think you went to his shop.
I don't remember what it was.
Or you guys went somewhere
No,
and I assumed,
he still worked with me at the time.
well, then you went out to eat or something.
Whatever the case is.
Like
I
you were
got Bell's
definitely
palsy.
somewhere.
Lasted about 9 months. It was terrible. It was scary because we didn't know. Go to the hospital and they don't tell you anything. And I didn't know if it was permanent.
I thought you were having a stroke.
Yeah.
Literally. Because especially during the time that it was happening, because it was around like in COVID times and you were super stressed out about everything that was going on. And so you were like, I'm not having a stroke. I'm not having a stroke. And I'm like, well, we don't know that unless you go to the hospital.
Yep.
And then that whole thing was super scary because of the time that it was happening, we weren't even allowed to go into the hospital with you. So me and the kids were in the car waiting to hear
Yeah, I remember that.
anything that was going on while you were getting MRIs, CAT scans, all of that done.
It was a really shitty feeling because when you have Bell's palsy, your face gets really heavy. And it's been like, it was nothing that I want to experience again. The second time I got it,
yeah.
The second time I got it, we were in Texas and the doctor, he's like, I've been a doctor for 35 years and I've always heard of this. Never seen someone come in that suffered from or has been diagnosed with Bell's palsy on both sides of their face.
Yeah.
He'd always heard about it. So I guess that was kind of rare.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget what he said to me. He said, let's just hope this is just like a hard reset and it doesn't happen again. It shouldn't happen again. But he did also tell me that you got to start taking care of yourself, eating healthy, like exercising. And he told me
stressing as much.
the stress is a big one. Stress is a huge one.
Yeah, I just remember you. And also the reason why I know that it's stress is because each time you had little to no sleep, you were stressed out because when you went to Texas, you didn't sleep before. You went on the flight.
Oh, yeah.
You slept on the flight for maybe 3 hours because the flight is not long from here to Texas.
No, it's like 3.5 hours.
And that's why I knew that's what it's censored around that for sure.
And as tattooers, I mean, this is our fault because we could say no to things, and we could say no to going in. We could say no to working to 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So when something like this happens to someone, I mean, I think that it's not taken into consideration how much we give up as tattooers to do what we do. Any tattooer who's really hustling and trying to make something of their career, it's a lot of sacrifice, and I paid the price with that. And I wasn't the healthiest either. I didn't want to eat salads and kale and beans and hummus. I mean, I didn't care.
Yeah.
I moderated it. I did. But for tattooers, moderating it means eating once a day, and I can't do that. So now I make sure that I take a break and do that. But I always reminded myself one thing too, that it could have been worse. It could have been something else.
No, that's
I'm not even going to say what it could have been.
I'm just thankful that it was
that.
Like,
and that's crazy.
Even though it was really, really hard for you, it's been really hard for you because I've seen like the emotional side of it too, because your face in your eyes has been altered. To everyone else, nobody would know that. Everyone else who's looking at you would not be like, oh, that's the side that it happened to, huh? That's the side you're having problems with. They wouldn't notice it.
It's just crazy because
it's your face. So
there's people that, and I don't get mad about it or anything, but when I wear sunglasses, they think it's because I'm trying to be cool or something. Yeah. I'll say it for the record now, for all you guys watching or listening. I wear sunglasses because from my readings, and obviously it happened to me, is that one of the side effects, or long-term, hopefully not permanent side effects of Bell's palsy is sensitivity to light. Mm-hmm. I literally cannot go outside without my sunglasses. I can't do it. I mean, if I wanted to, I'm sure I could fight through it, but my eyes, for real, like, I have to take care of them more than ever before. That's another reason I'm so picky with like the lighting and stuff that I have. Mm-hmm. If it's crappy lighting, I don't want to use it. Yeah. If it's not good quality light, I don't want to use it. So like when I have someone come and film something at the shop, they look at my setup and they're like, "Oh, I didn't need to bring anything. Yeah, you have everything. I don't understand." And I like the other day I told Brandon, I've had Bell's palsy, so I'm doing everything in my power, including eating healthier. You've seen me do that, especially recently. I'm not jumping off of it. I'm staying on it. And I tell him I have to have the best lighting I can because I want to tattoo for another 15 years. You know what I mean? So, and then to find out later too, that a lot of tattooers, not a lot, there's been a good handful of tattooers that I know of and they're well known that have had it. Mm-hmm. And nobody talks about it. Yeah. And it's okay. Like I get it sometimes because
it's like a personal experience,
when I went through it, dude, it was crazy. It mentally messed me up. Like I know I don't look the same. I think more now maybe, but it's not the same.
You do still look the same.
I don't. I see this. I see a different person, man. And then it's not funny. Like it's not funny, man. Like it's really emotional because when it first happened to me, I was like, "Well, dude, I'm dying. I don't know what was happening." Yeah. But anyways, the second time in Texas, I remember eating with Jose. We were at the desk in the hotel, and then we were just eating, talking shit, and just hanging out. Dude, I remember out of nowhere, I just felt this heaviness again, and I'm like, "No way!" And I remember my mouth still worked and everything, and I was like, "No way!" I said it out loud twice. And Jose's like, "Oh, what happened? What's going on?" And I ran to the mirror that's in the hallway in the hotel room. And I'm like holding up my smile, like, Yeah. And I just see this side go. And I was forced, like trying to force it to stay smiling and just didn't do it. It was the crappiest feeling. I saw it happen. Yeah. The first time I didn't see it happen, I woke up like that. Mm-hmm. And it was like super, super downer. Like it wasn't good. Yeah. It was like depression overload. I was like, no way. But this time we knew.
No, we didn't because that happened. And then me and the kids are here And that was the first time that you were away for a while. And then you're like, oh, I got Bell's palsy again on the other side. And I'm like, how do you know that that's what that is? Because it's literally the same symptoms. So you're in Texas. I'm here in California. And I don't know if you're having a stroke or not. And honestly, Chris was the one who was like, no, we're going to the hospital. Right?
Chris and Jose.
Yeah. And I'm like, thank God.
To be honest with you, like, I'm not talking shit. I don't care. To be honest with you, Chris was mad that I interrupted his day. I was like, hey, take me to the hospital. And he's like, and I was going to go. There was nothing that was going to stop me from not going because I didn't know what else am I supposed to do. And then so we had already done research on this and they said CBD, this and that, this and that. This. So we went to a place, got some medicine. I started doing acupuncture and that helped a ton.
Well, the first time we didn't know what to do. So we weren't as fast acting on it. But the second time you already went through it. So
it was gone in 3 months.
Maybe even less than that.
Maybe less.
But it was gone fast. Whereas the first time it was not like that at all.
But I remember the second time I made a full recovery.
Yeah.
It was super full recovery.
And it wasn't as severe. Like you didn't have the pain, like the noise issue, because that was really bad the first time.
Oh, yeah.
You had that nerve pain every time somebody spoke loud.
Sometimes even now.
Yeah.
Like if I'm, like you said, if I'm tired and the kids are just going crazy, there's been once or twice I put headphones on just to drown out the sound.
Yeah.
Because your ear is just like super sensitive.
Yeah. Because the nerve, it goes like right behind your ear.
And that's when I started to get kind of scared and like kind of panicky about it because I just don't want to go through that again. That was, I have nightmares about it. Sometimes I wake up like freaking out because I don't feel something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that I don't ever want to go through again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not fun, especially being the spouse of the person that it's happening to, because you can't do anything about it. You can't help. And then the first time was super scary, but we were with you. The second time, I just remember crying, waiting to hear what was happening because I didn't know if you were having a stroke, and you were in Texas. And that's all I could think about is, oh my God, is he going to have a stroke and die? And he's in a different state.
This is like, I don't know why we're talking about this.
I know.
We're supposed to be talking about that.
You brought it up.
No, I think that it's good to talk about it because
like over here.
It is part of like our journey, my journey as a tattooer. I had worked in some very toxic workplaces before I opened up my shop, and it sucked. And I think that everything, even from that, mounted up to me getting the Bell's palsy.
Yeah.
I'm a suck it up kind of guy. Now I'm like, nope. If it's not that important to me, if it's not going to directly affect me, I don't even care. Sometimes I have to stop myself from saying things, staying up too late, and I do that all the time. Mm-hmm. This is the part of tattooing that people don't see.
No.
This is the part of what we do that people don't think. So it's crazy.
Well, I think it's really easy to see the successes, see the fun that you're having, see the places you're going, that your career's taking you. But they don't see also the sacrifices that are made too. Like everyone wants to say, oh, it must be nice. But like you don't know everything that was put into getting that must be nice statement. Yeah,
definitely. I think that from your perspective, you see that differently. Like you see it as like you just said, oh, it must be nice. But from my perspective, when I run into clients who are not appreciative or the ones that, oh, your day rate's this much. Oh, so do I get him for 24 hours? Like, do you understand what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you understand how you sound right there? Like, it just blows my mind the lack of consideration of another person.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, no matter what it is.
Yeah. Like, would you want to work for 24 hours straight?
No, me, I would. No.
Well, no, the client. Would you be willing to work at your job for 24 hours straight? Also, the physical strain. Like, I know people think, oh, you're just sitting there and tattooing. But, like, you're straining your eyes to look at it, your hand, your back, your neck, everything. Like, you're using a lot of muscles, a lot of parts of your body that people don't fully take into consideration. Yeah, you're not training for the freaking World Olympics, but it's still a lot. And unless you've done it or seen the effect that it has, like I've seen you standing for 3 days at a convention doing a tattoo, like, and other people who are in it are like, holy crap, you stood the entire time.
I think that goes back to how I just grew up. Like, you have to like suck it up. You have to do what it takes. But now I try not to do that. I get carried away. Especially if you're not there, I'll just go. But I remember the Tahoe conventions where I did that 2 years ago, whatever it was. And it was 3 days standing up, damn near 90 degrees. And I remember walking back to the hotel.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And, dude, I was so tired and so much pain that I remember there was a raccoon that stood up on his legs like he wanted to fight me. And I was like, what? I didn't really know how to react because I was so tired and I didn't even care because I was in so much pain. I just wanted to get to the room. And when I got to the room, everything was muffled voices. I couldn't really understand what you guys are saying, just a little bit here and there. And I think you had gotten me a burger and I don't even remember how it tasted and nothing. I was so tired. But therein lies the sacrifice that we do for the pieces that we do. Mm-hmm. Not all tattooers do that, and they're smart for not doing that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to trying to get something done, I'm one of the ones that's okay, let's do it. Like I said, not so much anymore because I have more to live for. I'm getting older. Mm-hmm. Or as these newer tattooers, what do they call us? Dusty old heads. We're going to talk about that soon. I don't want to go into it too much, but sacrificing so much to get things done and seeing my industry change and see the lack of respect that these new age tattooers have. Bro, you have no idea the level of commitment and research and work and the whole suck it up thing that tattooers that came before you have, even before me. Mm-hmm. Sure, I don't do American traditional, but I know enough to respect the past and the ones that came before me. And even, you don't even have to go that far back to respect people that came before you. The tattooers that have been here longer than you have sacrificed just as much. Mm-hmm. And the reason you know about them is because they have sacrificed that. Yeah. But now going back to my Bell's palsy thing, there's a limit to how much now I'm willing to sacrifice for it.
Also, I'm also in your ear saying you're not allowed to do these things anymore. Yeah. Because if I wasn't saying, hey, you need to take more time off, you need to not work so late, you need to go to bed, all of those things, you would not think about it and just do what you need to do. You need someone reminding you. You don't need to do all of those things. And there are plenty of times where you're like frustrated because I'm like, hey, you need to go to bed. But at the end of the day, I'm not looking out for every tattoo. I'm looking out for you.
You're like Adrian from Rocky. And I'm Rocky.
You're what's important to me.
And
Not the piece.
but this conversation turned from talking about where we came from to what has happened, but it's actually going pretty good because I think it's something that tattooers need to be aware of and take care of themselves and not push the boundaries and respect the ones that came before you. Write that down, okay? Because it's true.
Yeah.
I have a high level of respect for tattooing.
Yeah.
It's not my hobby.
No.
It's not something I take lightly.
Well, like on the post that you made for the 15 years, like I said, we do look at it. We respect it a lot. It's very sacred to us. Like, it's given us the life that we have. It's taken us places we've never thought we'd go before. We're literally able to do everything that we're able to do because of this.
Yeah, because of tattooing. Yep.
And your art, like, which is crazy because you always wanted to do something with your art. You were always an artist.
I think that I and like I still find it hard to call myself an artist. There are certain parts of my career where, yeah, I'm a tattoo artist.
Mm-hmm.
But to call, like, that's another thing I think people have lost the respect of calling yourself an artist. Bro, that takes a lifetime to become an artist. You know, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
No, I get it. I get what you're saying. But at the same time, like, your lifetime so far, that's what you've been doing.
Yeah, I don't know.
How old was Van Gogh when he died? Wasn't he like in his 20s?
I don't know.
Maybe early 30s?
I'm going to have to Jamie this real quick and see because I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was young.
When Van Gogh, when he died?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, 37.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you. Who was an art major? Not me.
I haven't looked at that. I used to know everything about Van Gogh. I don't. My focus is now on tattooing only.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say. So in his lifetime, which you are now a year, almost 2 years older than what he was, he became the artist that he is now known as.
I'm not gonna lie to you. There's sometimes when I like hear ringing in my ear, and I'm like, no, don't do it. I'm like, I don't want to go crazy like that guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to have a little bit of losing your sanity, I guess, over your art.
I do.
Yeah, I know. I've seen it.
Because every time, well, the times that I've asked you guys to help me with like a composition, hold that. And then it's like, oh, people like when I get really involved in the art or if I'm producing something and you're asking me to help, I get really bossy and very aggressive because I wish I just had 8 hands to do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And when somebody helps me, the vision is not the same.
Yeah.
And I love you guys for it.
Oh, I know. It is not easy in those moments. But also, as frustrating as it is, an outsider may look at that like, oh man, he's so messed up. Like, he's being so mean or bossy. For us, we understand like where it's coming from.
It just comes from the heart and soul. Like there's nothing else.
It's your thing. It's not our thing. And we don't know what you want. We're not mind readers.
To be fair, when it's all over, I do apologize. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yes. But the process is not my favorite. When you're like, hey, can you help me with this? I'm like, oh God, here we go.
Yeah, it's and I know I'm not the nicest and I own that. But that's my domain and I just feel weird about certain things. No excuses. I'm not saying there's excuses. I'm just saying.
Don't worry. I don't let him get away with any of it. So anyone who's thinking, oh gosh, he must be an asshole. That's not the case. But yeah, no, I get it. It's it's your thing. Just like for me, when people ask me, oh, can I help you with something? And I'm like, no, please don't.
Yes.
Like I don't like other people's help. I can say that perfectly fine. Like it's not that I don't want the help. It's not that I don't appreciate it. It's just I want to do it my way. And if I can do it on my own, my way, then that's what I'm going to do.
Well, that's like when I ask you, oh, you want me to help you clean the house, wash the clothes? Nope. And then now I'm just like, I'm not going to do it. I'll help you every now and then, like do stuff, but I know I'm not going to do it the way you want. The same way with like anything with tattooing, even the shop, like everything has to be a certain way.
We're very particular about certain things. You especially.
But coming from, I don't know, it's been such a long journey because 15 years ago we started in our bedroom. Mm-hmm. And I remember saying to you, okay, the first couple lines is going to say, yeah, we're going to do this, or what the hell did I do?
And I was
this guy's
over
arm?
your shoulder the entire time watching to see how it was going to go. And I was like, oh.
Well, you were over my shoulder for a little bit and then you went to sleep. I remember that.
Well, yeah, but that first, like the first couple lines or whatever, at least 30 minutes of it, I was over your shoulder like, oh God, this is either going to be okay or it's not going to be okay.
Yeah, but once I finished the outline 12 hours later and our room looked like a scene from Dexter's Laboratory, or Dexter.
With the trash bags.
Because
like,
there's trash bags and plastic area. It was disgusting. And at the time, we weren't ashamed. We were just doing what we thought was the right thing to do. And now looking back, I'm like, oh my God, that was disgusting. But we all have a start. And then
I honestly like to call it the Cinderella story. Like it really was a Cinderella story.
I mean, you're Cinderella. I'm one of the mice or
No.
something. I'm not, no.
It literally was like, I don't want to say, no, forget it. I was going to say something else, like rags to riches, but I wouldn't consider us like
No.
rich or anything.
We're not rich.
No,
Trust me,
we're
okay?
not. We are not. But what I like in terms of like all of that, it was the nitty gritty.
We started in the mud.
Yes,
we did. We started in the mud and we were there for a while. I ended up working for some shops in the high desert in Hesperia. And then I moved to Rancho, then Fontana, then back to Hesperia. And then we opened our own shop. And that's where we're at now. I think that if we go into that anymore, it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
I don't need to talk about those shops.
Yeah.
I'll talk about people like my buddy Chris Charlin. He tattooed my neck. He did the lantern on my arm. He was the only person I ever took the time to kind of show me some tricks and tips or whatever for tattooing. And this was how long ago? 9, 8 years ago? Oh my God, dude. Like 9 years ago.
No, Ezio's 11.
Because he's
going to be 11 this next month. And he
my
wasn't
God.
born yet.
Dude, time is just like so warped.
So like 11 years ago, let's just say that.
Chris Charlin was the one that helped me out at first. And and that was it. I mean, I worked back in Hesperia. I don't want to give any clout to anybody because they don't deserve it. Unless you do deserve it. Like if you've helped me in my career and were good to me. Because I will honestly say I've never screwed anybody over in this industry. I don't do that. I try to be the best person. No, I'm not perfect. But I've never deliberately done anything to screw anybody over. And I learned a lot of that from Chris too. Like he taught me how to not to take crap from anybody. Like I've seen him deal with people and I kind of get a little bit of that from him. And that was a good time to, working with him and the other people at the shop. But the point is though, everywhere I've worked, when an artist says that they're self-made, that's not true. An artist is not self-made. You are made by the people you've worked alongside. Those are the people who taught you. Good tattooers, bad tattooers, good shops and bad shops. Everything you go through that's your teacher.
Well, yeah, you are progressively learning along the way.
Well, I mean, you would hope so. You would hope that people would think of it like that.
Well, yeah.
You know, it's unfortunate that I think artists are very emotional creatures, people, whatever. And we can get caught up in our emotions. You've seen me do it all the time. And I'm not ashamed of it because I think when everything's very cut and dry and to the point, then it's like, it's not real. I get in my emotions. Every tattooer I know is like that. So I think it's good to remember the times where you were before you are now.
Yeah.
And appreciate where you are now in your career, whether you're not at your full potential and you haven't reached your goals yet. I think it's good to remember where you came from, because the second that you do that, you're, oh man, it could be worse. I could still be at that level 10 years back, 5 years back. I'm not. I think when you start realizing that, then it's more like eye-opening.
Yeah. Well, also, I feel like that's very stagnant to not have like goals that build upon goals. Like, do your goals ever stop?
No.
Because I don't feel like they should. Like, once you achieve one thing, then your mind opens more and you think, oh, maybe I want to do this now, type of thing.
For me, and when I teach seminars and stuff, I always like talk about it like, or I'll tell artists, you know, sometimes I'll get DMs and stuff like, how can I get to where you're at in your career? How do you stay motivated is a big one. How do you keep pushing? I'm like, bro, once your whole career, no matter what you do in life, it's always climbing a mountain.
Yeah.
A true champion, and I'm just being like trying to be speechy and stuff. A true champion is they stay hungry. They get to the top of the mountain and they look over there and then they see a taller one and they go after that. A person who does it for a hobby or temporary, just wants the money for now and just kind of whatever, they're going to get to the top of the mountain. They're going to chill. Well, and they're going to hang out.
Yeah. I think also a lot of times people look at other people and they're like, I want that. I want what he has or she has. How do I achieve that? I want to be better than him. And you should never try to be better than the person next to you. Should be better than you, like every single day. And I think that's what has been something that you do constantly. You look at your tattoo that you did yesterday, and then today you're like, how do I do better today than I did yesterday? What?
Yeah, but I think with Instagram, social media in general.
Yeah.
We get caught up, especially lately. I've seen a lot of artists post stuff about it. Like, you know, it sucks when clients don't see your progression or appreciate it, or you don't see progression. Do you know why that's happening? It's because you're comparing yourself to the artist who you admire. Oh man, their work is so amazing. I'll never achieve it. Oh man, that's too good. Why isn't my stuff like that? Don't do that. Like comparing yourself to another artist, person, whatever online. Let me tell you something. More than 50% of that is lies anyways. Like, especially when people try and compare the lives, you know, not tattoos. Who cares? Focus. I always say, I tell people all the time, put your blinders on. And what that means is like horse, right? A horse has blinders. And what are you doing? You're blocking out every, look, what's important is what's right here in front of you. Nothing else matters. And then I think that social media messes us up real bad. And we're like looking at everything and you get distracted. And the next thing you know, you're not doing good tattoos because you're so worried about not being good. And you're so worried about this guy winning all these awards or going to all these conventions and doing this sick piece. You know what you do when you see all that? You should take that and say, like, let that be the fuel that fires you up. And I would say, let it be the fuel that fires you up. Don't drown in the gas because it can go either way real quick.
No, definitely.
You look super cute on camera.
I think that is also just in general with people's lives with social media.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think that's also why a lot of people don't have successful relationships.
Social media has been like a blessing and a curse because it's ruined a lot of relationships.
Well, yeah, because everybody is looking at the grass that's greener on the other side. The grass isn't greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you're watering it. If you're not taking care of your lawn, it's not going to be the greenest one on the block.
Are you trying to top my like sayings, my speech?
Don't come at me with motivational things because we all know I am the one who is more motivational.
There's no way I can come on with some gnarly stuff. Okay.
Yeah, but I have it on tap 24/7. Yours is like sporadic.
Mine's when you really need it.
I just gave you a clueless homage. I hope not sporadically.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it's been a journey tattooing.
Mm-hmm.
The shops that we've been to and now owning our own shop. We originally wanted it to be just a private studio for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had some buddies come in and then some more. And they go, artists come and go. And I think that's a thing that tattoo owners, we all know that. And it's something that we just got to be okay with. It is what it is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But we're moving the shop pretty soon. It doesn't seem stressful, but it is because it's a whole new thing again.
Mm-hmm.
And
but that's also exciting though.
It is exciting, but it's just so much
because like what you would say is, well, you're not the one who has to work for it because you're the one who's actually like.
You don't, but I don't expect you to.
Well, no, but it's more
like, I think
pressure on you, like, and I understand that.
When I say that, I honestly think a lot of times I say it out of frustration because it is frustrating. Like sometimes I feel like I'm moving all the weight myself, and that sucks, man. Like it's gratifying when it's done, but at the same time, it goes back to that whole sacrifice thing. Mm-hmm. I sacrifice my soul and body basically when I'm tattooing, and then to take another feat like this of moving a shop, it's like. It's too much. Sometimes it's just too much, and I just work through it. And that's not something I should do, but I do. I do it a lot. Mm-hmm. But I can't wait to move the shop. It's going to be a good adventure. And that's it. I'm not moving from there again. Like this is it.
Yeah.
And whatever we do this time, it's done.
I think too, though, like. It feels more like that for you also because you are very particular about how you like things done. And you and I don't do things in the same way.
What do you mean? Like, what?
Like you're very like straight to the point, cut through all the crap. Like, and I'm more like, I approach things differently. So you're like, hey, can you do this? And when you want something done, it's like you want it done like right then.
Well, yeah, 100% because.
And I'm like, I can't do that.
Well, there's nothing wrong with either one.
No.
They're just different styles
just
of
different
approach.
ways of doing it. So for you, like it's your vision ultimately. It's what you're the one who's there essentially every day. Like I'm not the one who is there all the time. So you want it a certain way. So a lot of times too, I feel like you're like, well, what do you think about this? And although I appreciate you wanting my input, I also don't feel like my input, not that it's not valid, because clearly you're asking me for my input. But at the end of the day, it's whatever is going to be most beneficial for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's perfect.
So for me, I'm
don't be afraid to say, because the whole reason I'm doing this podcast is to delete the fakeness of anything. Now, I don't want people coming on here cussing and being super negative about stuff. I just want you to be real. There's a big difference between being real and being negative.
Yeah, no.
Like if I talk about someone and start making up all these things, that's talking shit. You know, that's being bad. If you're speaking facts, that's just being real, man. And I think that people can't handle that now. Like they cannot. And it's funny because people don't they don't take what I a lot of times I always tell you this. People don't take what we do for life or our career choice, like my career choice, serious.
Yeah.
It's hard to get a house. It's hard to get a car. It's hard to get anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a different form of racism, like straight. It's just discrimination.
It's discrimination, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like by now we shouldn't really expect anything less. You've literally been dealing with that from the very, very beginning, regardless of like who it's coming from. It could literally be the closest person to you.
I mean, and it has been.
It has been.
It's been family. Family has talked down about me, and again, I'm not going to get into specifics about it, but there was a lot of doubt in the beginning of my career, and there's a point of it where I get it, because it's a very risky thing. It's like, what? You want a tattoo? That doesn't make any sense.
But I don't know how the saying goes, and this is like kind of, it's like a religious viewpoint, but basically it's like God placed this vision. I don't remember who said it. I want to say it was Steve Harvey, but he basically is like, God placed this vision in you for you. Nobody else is going to know or expect your potential or see it but you, because this vision was placed on you. So every other person who comes and says, oh, you're never going to be able to do that, you're never going to make anything out of this, they can't grasp it because they don't have in them what you have in you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think that's really important also to remember. If you work hard enough for something, you have a love and a drive and a want for something bad enough, and you're willing to put in the hard work, you can achieve it. And I think that's something that when younger artists or artists who have even been in it for a little while, when they come up to you at conventions and they're like, how did you do it? Basically, like, how do I get to where you are? And your answer is always, you just got to work hard. Like,
it doesn't make sense to me when someone says, well, how'd you do it? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Because for me, I'm just doing my job. I don't necessarily think that I'm trying harder than someone else. I think I'm doing it to the standard where I think that everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
Or as long as you care about what you're doing, your tattoos.
And that's not to say like you're working harder or that person's not working hard enough. That person's not working hard enough. It just means you have to put in the reasonable amount of time and effort into whatever it is that you're wanting to do to make it something successful. And honestly, I almost feel like it's kind of a trap when somebody asks that, because it's not like 15 years ago we had this whole like plan in motion, or like a PowerPoint presentation that said by this, and this, we're going to do this. And like we had it all laid out. Like we literally stumbled.
That reminds me of when we got married on the beach, and when we said the I do's and all that stuff, and we walked away, we didn't really have anywhere to walk to. And I always think back at that time in our life, and that's been our whole life. Yeah. We didn't have a direction per se. We didn't have a plan.
No.
And we just went for it. And we went for it all the way. And no matter what we did it 100%.
Yeah. There was like, it's like when you come to a fork in the road and you're like, okay, do I go left or do I go right? Well, you know what? Right looks like a really good option. And it seems like it's the best one for right now. That's literally what we did every single time. It was like, okay, this is going to be better for us. So let's do this. And then we just went with it. There was no like guideline for anything.
We didn't know what we were doing.
No.
At all. Like we just went for it.
We've been together for 17 years this year, which is crazy. I would have my life that I planned, because we met when I was 18. The life that I had planned in my mind in high school, 18-year-old me is not the life that I have right now at all.
Yeah.
Is it less than? Definitely not. Like, I could have never imagined us having or doing or any of that. Like, I would have never said, oh yeah, I'm going to be married to a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
Like, maybe someone in like the medical field. That's honestly what I thought. I would probably, because I was going to school to be a dental hygienist. Like, I would have thought I would have married someone who had a career like that, not a tattoo artist ever.
But even now, after we've accomplished what we have and all that stuff, people still don't take us serious, especially when I really don't care because I know what I'm doing and I don't care about any of their opinions. But like, you'll make a new friend in the neighborhood or you'll hang out. And I remember there's been a couple of times I've been there for it. And it's been like, oh, what does your husband do for work? And then especially older people, they're like, oh, he's a tattoo artist. And they just kind of, oh, that's cool.
I remember when I was still working at Target, when I think we had already had Ezio, or maybe I was pregnant. And it was like older guys, they'd come in for like the expired product that was donated to like the church or whatever. And they would ask like, oh, somehow they found out you did tattoos. And they asked me, that's his only job?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's what he does.
I've had clients come in as I'm tattooing them or before we start. What else do you do? What? I'm like, I just tattoo, man. Like, this is what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely wouldn't have expected it. I mean, I never expected to be a stay-at-home mom.
No.
Like, I can honestly say that.
That wasn't part of the plan. You were going to go get a job, dental hygienist.
I would have had a 9 to 5. Like, that was the goal that I was working towards at the time. And both of my parents worked. Like, they had to work. And I just never thought that I would be able to be a stay-at-home mom, let alone did I think that that's what I would want to do. And then here I am. And although it was hard initially quitting, because for the longest time, I made the most money in the beginning of your career. Like, my job was steady. It was secure. It paid for our bills.
Yeah, you were the one that bought me the tattoo kit after I told you not to get it. I said, I didn't want to do this.
I put that on.
Let's take it back. Let's take it back. We were sitting down. I was in between jobs, working whatever I could.
Yeah.
I was doing anything that I could. And then I had just left or quit. Or maybe I was working for Goodyear. I don't remember.
I think you were working for Goodyear still.
But we were watching Miami Ink and you said, why don't you do it? And at this, we were fans of the show.
Yeah.
It was a fun show to watch. It never crossed our minds before this day. Oh, maybe I should do tattoos. Never. Maybe, at least for me, it never crossed.
But I will say, looking back on all of that, like in hindsight, I almost feel like every single thing from the beginning, like, let it there, because our very first date, you were wearing a Miami Ink t-shirt.
Yes, that is true. As corny as that sounds, that's true.
Very first date. And then we used to watch the show and I was like, oh, you should do that. And you're like, I don't know about that.
I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to mess anybody up. And I was terrified of that.
Mm-hmm. And then I just remember I put it on my credit card. It was like, I think it was $200, which was a lot.
That was a lot. I
only made $11 an hour.
And we're not trying to say that's not a lot of money. It is.
No, it is a lot. But that was like thousands in comparison to what we were like making.
Oh, definitely. It wasn't in our price range.
No, like I had to put it on a credit card.
I remember.
And slowly pay it off. And I just remember saying, like, if you're going to do this, like, you have to be serious about it and give it like an actual effort. You
I
can't just
remember
quit because it's hard.
I still remember the smell of that kit, like the metal, the foam, like it just came from China. Like, because you know that it smells kind of weird when it comes from overseas.
Well, also back then, like you always used, what are they, the coil machines?
Coil machines.
And you used to smell like metal when you would come home.
Well, that was because of the tubes. Back then, we used metal tubes.
Yeah.
So it was the grip, the back stem, and the tip. And a lot of you new tattooers don't even know what I just said. But yeah, definitely.
I'll never forget that. It was like you worked in a hospital or something. Like how, because my mom, when she would come home from work, she's a dental assistant, and she smells like the office. That's how you smell all the time to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now
what that
you
is.
don't. Now
No,
you don't.
Now
it's all of your stuff is disposable.
Disposable and like inject this is, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all different.
I don't know
now.
why. It's weird.
Or sometimes it'd smell like green soap all the time. Mm-hmm. Some people like to smell that though.
I don't know. I don't
You
like it at all. It burns. It would always burn me. I remember.
What, the skin?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's alcohol in it. That's why I don't use it.
Well, no, I know. I just am not a fan of it.
There's a pro tip for you guys. If, and I'm going to just throw like these little tips out there when things like this come up. Don't use green soap. If you want to keep a lot of the redness away from your client's skin when you're working on them, especially if you're doing multiple days, use distilled water for most of the tattoo. And when you're taking breaks, every once in a while, use like a non-scented Dr. Bronner's, Ohana Organics to wipe them down like and dilute it. Green soap causes a lot of the irritation. Anything that has alcohol in it. Mm-hmm. Some artists, I think Chris wiped this down with alcohol when we were done, and I damn near passed out. I remember when he did this tattoo. I remember I was like, dude, and it was the most painful thing. I thought I was gonna die, but
well, it's funny because when you did the Nashville convention last year, there were those artists that came up and they were asking like, how do you? Your stuff's like not red or irritated or anything. And you paused and you were like, are you using green soap? And they were like, oh, how did you know that? Like they were shocked and you're like
I showed them a magic trick or something.
They were like, oh my God, like you read their mind or something.
Yeah.
They were like, who are you?
Well, I'm an experienced tattooer. Yes. I'm seasoned, as they say.
And they were like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that.
It's crazy for me to even like consider myself seasoned because I think one of the things that keeps me on point is going back mentally to the time where I first started. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, used to tattoo in the garage.
Oh God. Yeah.
Like my dad and my grandpa built a studio for him literally in the garage. And he would, like, his friends would let him tattoo. Like even some of my coworkers got tattooed.
Yeah, it was straight up. It was straight up a 10 by 10.
Mm-hmm. Had a little tiny air conditioner unit in it.
Yeah, we put a hole in there, and then we made it legit. Like her and her grandpa, or I'm sorry, her dad and her grandfather like made it for me, and I'll forever be thankful and in debt in my heart to both of them. And but that's how it started. We went from the bedroom, tattooed like 2, 3, 4, 5 people there.
And I think my dad was the one. My dad and my grandpa were like, why don't we just build you like a little place in the garage?
They were the ones that said that.
I think they were the ones who brought it up. And I want to say it cost us like a couple $100 because we bought the wood and everything. And they like whipped that thing together. And next thing we know,
it was like in 3-4 days.
Yeah. It was like in no time at all.
Mm-hmm. They put a drywall. It was crazy.
It was crazy.
Like they hooked it up and then we painted it. And I remember when I was tattooing in the garage, it smelled like that metal. Mm-hmm. It smelled like a medical, like doctor's place. And again,
the OG clients will know.
I'm not saying like go and do this, guys.
No.
I did this because that's how I started. I had no other option. I went to other shops and they didn't want nothing to do with me.
But like I'm saying, Cinderella story.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I get what you're saying with that.
It's like a shack and now we own our own shop.
Yeah, and I love my shop. It's a beautiful shop. You know, we designed it together. Mm-hmm. I didn't want anything that looked like a salon. Again, there's nothing wrong with that, but for my taste, I wanted it, and honestly, I wanted more of a Batman feel to it, and it does have it, but it also has a very like Matrix feel to it, like that. Like if you jumped into like a different door in the Matrix,
Yeah.
I always think it looks like some scene from there. So just the color of the walls in the black.
Yeah. Well, also, you decided you want to open up the shop. Like literally, you can't you came to me and was like, I want to open up a shop. Oh, okay.
Well, I knew
when? Like right now. Okay.
I knew things were falling apart at the shop that I was at. It was too much for me. And then I worked with Jamie for a little bit. I love Jamie. Jamie Sheen is not only, and I don't say this lightly, he's one of the best tattooers in the world.
Yeah.
Not beyond his skill, the guy is one of the most amazing and wholesome people you'll ever meet. And he's inspired me. Some of the decisions that I've made are because of him.
Yeah. You used to follow him when you first like started, like not like, well, not used to, but you followed him when you first started.
When we first jumped into tattooing, the first tattooer I ever knew about, and I was hooked.
Jeff Gogway.
Jeff Gogway.
Yes.
Jeff,
you were
if you're listening, bro, I hope you listen, or somebody showed you this part.
If
still
you don't know this, he was obsessed with how you did everything. Like he loves Japanese art. Like his one place that he wants to go to is Japan. So all of your stuff was literally what he admired.
Do you remember I spray painted his Hanya mask in the shop?
Yes.
And so we just talked about this the other day. I was talking to, I believe, the guest artist. Maybe it was one of the girls. And I said, it's crazy because sometimes you don't realize you're copying the people. When you first start tattooing or creating art, you look up to people and you don't realize that you're literally copying them because you're so into it. And then I look back and I'm like, holy crap, I copied him so much. But it was never intended to be disrespectful, nothing like that. So a lot of times
loved what he was doing and you aspired to do that.
Because I remember when people started copying my tattoos, when that first started happening with the Harry Potter stuff, I didn't take it as flattering. I got really mad and I was like, what? Now, it's all reflection, right? You got to reflect back to what you were. And now I look and I'm like, if I ever say anything to anyone, it's like, hey man, I appreciate you being a fan or admiring my work or liking the composition or whatever I did so much that you did it on someone else. A piece of advice I'd give you is maybe don't do that next time. And I literally say, like, I don't get mad no more. Take inspiration from the artist that you look up to and change it. Do something else. Every artist steals. I don't care what anybody says. So when I start hearing these things where artists are like, whoa, that's my style. Bro, you didn't invent this. You didn't invent that type of lettering. You didn't invent this type of shading. You didn't invent that composition or that graffiti or that shadowing. It's all a collective from all artists. We all take from each other. And it's a lot of times it's like subconsciously.
Yeah. The seafoam green. That was like your
man.
trademark.
I was just talking to someone about that.
It's funny too because people are like, oh, because now that where you started my leg sleeve, they're like, oh, wow. Like, what else do you have? And for the longest time, I've always had like your first year
The crap.
of tattooing work.
It wasn't crap at the time.
No.
We thought it was good. And we were like,
Yeah,
oh,
we were.
man, this is awesome.
I have always been proud to wear it. But I think too, like, not that I was ever jealous, but when you see like a whole sleeve it's like so good, it's like.
I mean, I get jealous sometimes. That's not tooting my own horn. That's being real. Like, I feel like a lot of times when clients get really cool pieces that I've done, or I'm like super excited to do it, I'm like, damn, man, I wish this was on me.
Yeah. But for me though, I just feel like it's a collage of the progression that you've made. And so, whereas like I remember, I want to say we were at a family reunion and somebody was like, don't get too many tattoos because you don't know what's going to happen. Because at the time we were just dating. I don't even think we were engaged yet. And I was like, oh no, it's fine, whatever. And like now I look at it like it just shows like how far you've come with your work.
Yeah.
And so although I don't really like to show people because when they don't know you or what you do now, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's an artist. And they're like, oh yeah, what do you have? And I'm like, oh, hey,
Yeah,
this
but
is from 15 years ago.
but you know what you could do, or I think a cool way to do it is like, because I have clients like that too that have really old stuff. Now they have my new stuff. And they're like, oh, they show them the really crappy ones from the beginning.
No, yeah, I do
and
that.
they go, he did this when he started, but now he's doing this. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh. And then,
Well, the thing is, though, is that I didn't have anything new until the pandemic.
yeah,
So
that's
think
true.
about that.
True.
That's a long time.
And now your leg,
now my
unless
leg.
you're wearing shorts, you can't really show it.
Yeah. Or like a dress or something. But normally I'm wearing pants or like leggings. That's not gonna. I'm just pulling my pants down here. Let me show you this.
And let's talk about your tattoo real quick. That's a very emotional tattoo for us, especially for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen people's reactions on the up portion. The one thing that some people might be missing, the ones that write the really sad, like, oh, this just broke my heart or something. It's because they're looking at the part and the only reason that you got the up tattoo, besides the fact that it is my favorite movie that Pixar's done because it's so relatable. Mm-hmm. It's relatable to where we're headed in life. Mm-hmm. But the cloud of when they lost the baby or she couldn't get pregnant, that's very personal to us because we went through that. And I'll say you more went through that before Arabelle was born.
Yeah.
And that sucked, man. Like, I remember when we finished the tattoo, it was very emotional for you. Mm-hmm. And then, like, I remember you gave me a hug for long, and we just stood there and just hugged for a while. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because anytime I'm working on that tattoo, I just think about the Up movie or the music. I think about the times when it's like funny and cute music, and then when we finished that part of the tattoo, I thought of the slower part of the song. It just kind of like repeats in your head because you're going through it. So to the average person, they don't know the importance of that tattoo, but it was a big deal.
Well, that was what like initially sparked my interest in wanting to like do the whole leg sleeve, because if anybody knows me, you know I am not the type of person who likes to get tattooed. I would not have a tattoo if he wasn't a tattoo artist, honestly. And so it took me, we finished it on the 8th year anniversary, basically the week of it, of when I had the miscarriage. And it's taken me this long to really like know what I wanted to do for it. Like, you painted me a painting, which was really nice. I love it. I get to look at that every day. But other than that, I don't want to.
It's okay.
I don't really have anything for it.
You do now.
Yeah. So when I thought about it, I was like, I really want that scene. In your
when you
first...
think about it, it's dedicated to that kid. Mm-hmm. That the whole tattoo right there. And then we don't have that baby, and we have both of our kids that we haven't even incorporated into the project. So
No.
this is the kind of
Which-
stuff though that people don't. Like, you see the posts and stuff, but sometimes, not every tattoo, but some tattoos have a deep meaning, and there's people that you can make fun of that and say, "Oh, what does your tattoo mean? What does that one mean?" Listen, there's some things in life that, like you said, you didn't have anything, and now you do.
Yeah. And honestly,
We should have brought a box of Kleenex. I didn't know we were gonna do any of this.
I honestly thought I was like okay, and I was able to like talk about it. Because I feel like I've been doing really good recently. But yeah, so that's basically what sparked it all. And I was like, well, if we're doing something for that baby, we should do something that basically just puts into perspective or tattoo something that goes along with like our family, basically. So it's just going to be a collection of Disney things. A lot of people know this, but a lot of people don't know this. But we have always been huge Disney fans. Like, we've had Disney passes before we had kids. We used to go to Disneyland all the time. So a lot of our memories, a lot of my memories, especially because I would go with the kids when they were really little. A lot of Ezio's firsts were related around Disney stuff. So I am just choosing characters that remind me of them. There's like certain moments in their lives that I can pin to like a Disney character because it's been such a huge part of our lives, and that's what I wanted. And I never thought, like, you have so many people who will come in with like these crazy like stories.
Yeah.
Emotional stories. I mean, there's a handful that I can personally remember us reading their emails and just sobbing because we felt everything that they felt. And so up until this moment, we never really experienced anything like that I was like, I have to get something that was so important to me. Everything else was just kind of like, oh, I like that. It's cute or whatever. Nothing was really, well, my Beauty and the Beast one is, but that's more for like us. But everything else, there was nothing that really made me think, oh, I want to get a tattoo, because I wanted it to be something that was meaningful, not just like a flower because I like that flower. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I wanted something meaningful tied behind it. So yeah. And then here we are.
Yeah, I mean, it is
and it was honestly healing. I feel like there was a lot of healing that happened that day. Like, it's been in parts, but that cloud in particular hurt the most, which, should I have thought anything differently in comparison to the meaning of it?
I mean, to be fair, that spot is like by your butt, and that does suck. Or no, it's actually by your knee.
By my knee.
But but that right there alone, like, that was the worst part of the tattoo. And it wasn't intentional. Like, I didn't think of, okay, I'm going to put the most painful, most emotional part in the area where it hurts most. I didn't do that. It's just sometimes things just work that way, and it makes sense.
Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like it was physically the hardest, emotionally the hardest. And although I was crying a lot because of how much pain I was in while you're doing it, it in part because of the emotion that went behind it too. Like I knew what you were doing. I felt every single thing. It was like it's crazy because when I had the miscarriage for that, it was like almost 2 weeks where I was in really, really bad pain. Like my back was hurting and with like how I felt in the tub and everything. And it honestly, it brought me back to that moment. Like I felt like I was in that moment because it was so painful.
Mm-hmm.
So.
You mean during the tattoo?
Yeah. Like the pain that I felt during the tattoo was equivalent to that, which I did not expect. And maybe that was because my emotions also that were involved in it. But it freaking hurt.
I know. But you toughed it through.
Yeah.
You know, you did it, and
I feel stronger after it. Like honestly.
I mean, you should. We still got another one to do. You're not gonna like that. We're gonna do the Nemo, but that's a shorter session. It's not gonna be too crazy.
Don't give anybody any hints. I don't want anyone to try to steal it before
They're not
it
gonna
gets
know.
put on my body.
I don't even. Maybe it's been done once or twice. I don't know. But yeah, it's been a crazy journey to get to where we are.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a good journey. It's had a lot of ups and downs. I remember taking money out of piggy banks. I remember when you'd find $1 or $5 in the couch, you're like, holy shit, we can get some food or something. Like I remember that.
Or an old bag that I hadn't used in a while, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I just found $20.
Yeah, but we don't lose that mentality, and I try and tell the kids that too. Listen,
yeah,
just because you start doing good in life doesn't mean you start taking things and money and people for granted.
no,
I think that a lot of times too, we get caught up in our own stuff that we forget about people that are important. I can't tell you how many friends that I've had that end up just being pretenders, and they don't realize how much you're really messing with someone's emotions when you stop talking to them or whatever the case may be. And it's like, this is why I don't even have a circle. I have people who are acquaintances, and I have very, very few friends. And it's nothing against anybody who I consider a friend and I tattoo them. But at the end of the day, everybody just cares for themselves. That's true. You know, and that's why I say, like, an artist, don't take your time for granted. Like, use it wisely.
mm-hmm.
You know, I think one of my favorite parts of tattooing is the fact that we can go around the world, conventions, guest spots, or even just to travel. Well, then traveling's a separate thing, but like Tahoe, that's one of my favorite events of the year.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other one?
Philly.
Philly's always fun. Philly's a madhouse. It's a crazy like party.
Mm-hmm. The kids love Philly.
Yeah.
I love Tahoe too, but I still wish it was in the summer. Like, I think I'll always wish it was in the summer. There's just more that you can do. I miss it. But I also get it because their sister convention is like in what, October,
in France.
I think.
Yeah.
So it's close together. So I get it. But I wish it was still on.
We're going to try and go to that one eventually.
Yeah.
Next year we're going to Japan, so I don't know. We'll see. In Australia. Those two for sure happen next year.
Yeah. Well, when we do that, we'll have to, because it'll be in France. We'll have to do Paris
Yep.
for Arabelle.
But the conventions it's like a lot of the same artists do it.
Mm-hmm.
At least the ones that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always great to see like friends are like, oh, where's the family? So this year in Philly, you guys didn't go, and it sucked. I mean, it was fun. I had a lot of fun.
It was weird not being there too, for like even just me and the kids. Well, for one, the kids love the Lego guy. So Ezio was like,
was I there getting all the stuff?
Yeah, you and Tara.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
I remember this.
And I don't know. So they were super bummed about that. But honestly, like for me too, now that we homeschool the kids, that is the funnest part about what your job is. Like the fact that we get to
Yeah.
go around all these different places. And I always do like the history lessons with the kids in the different cities and all of that. So that's been my favorite part.
Well, you take advantage of like going to historical places. Like when we went to Philly, was it Philly that you
Yeah.
took the kids around like crazy?
Yeah, we walked around the whole city and everyone was like, you're freaking crazy. We walked from our hotel to the Liberty Bell. We did the Benjamin Franklin Museum. We saw his grave site, the Constitution Center.
Yeah.
We did a bunch of stuff. Walked through Chinatown.
Yeah, you guys rocked it out. And it sucks because a lot of times I don't get to enjoy that, and that sucks. But that's just what it is.
Yeah. I do agree. But I will say, you also, like when we have done certain things, you're like, okay, come on, let's go through it. Like, for instance, when we were in Utah and we went to the Natural History Museum there. And I was like, oh, look, Ezio, it's about earthquakes. And I wanted to sit there and do a whole lesson on it. And you're like, come on, let's go.
Yeah, well, I live in California. That's all I need to know about earthquakes.
I know, but he was learning about that. So
I'm not the one in class, okay?
But that's what I'm trying to say. So if you were there, they wouldn't want to sit through all of that.
Whenever I come around, it's a lazy town.
No,
they
it's
don't
not
want to do
lazy
anything.
town. They just want to spend all of their time with you. They don't want to do anything else.
You're acting like it's a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying that I wouldn't be able to do everything that I end up doing if you were there. Because they'd be like, come on, let's play games. Let's watch a movie. Let's cuddle. Because let's be real, that's what they want to do.
I love the industry or the life that we built with tattooing because we can spend all this time together, and I think it's great. So I do appreciate that.
Yes. And that's what I say too. Like, we don't live a conventional like life.
Mm-mm.
Like, our kids don't go to bed.
They should.
At 7 o'clock.
They need to.
Should. They do need to. But we do utilize the fact that they are homeschooled so that they're able to spend time with you when you get home from work. Because before, you would never see them. When Ezio was in school, you'd see him in the morning right before he went to school. And then he'd be in bed before you got home from school or from work.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like sometimes I feel like both of the kids were raised differently.
They were.
And it sucks. I feel bad sometimes about that. But
well, I feel like even for me, like how, like the mom that I was for Ezio is not the same mom that I am for Arabelle. It's not to say that I'm like a bad mom or a worse mom. It's just I was able to be one-on-one with him. Whereas with her, there was two of them. So I never feel like she got the same like attention, even though she was more needy. So she did get a lot of attention. It was just, I don't know. I think regardless of what you do, you're going to beat yourself up because it's never the same situation, the same scenario. The kid's not the same. They have different personalities.
But I do think that our lifestyle or whatever has had a big impact on how close we are. Mm-hmm. Because you guys are able to go to these conventions and enjoy your day or the time at these getaways. And even though I know I don't get to enjoy it a lot of times, that's just part of the gig. As long as you guys have fun, that's all that matters.
Well, I mean,
you want me to be there.
In a perfect world, you would be at every single thing that we go and do.
And there's
the kids are always like, can we just win the lottery so that you can stay home? Sometimes I think that they would rather me work And you stay home.
That's not true. And let me tell you why that's not true. And I think this is, I'm sure, I know for a fact it's happened across the world somewhere or whatever. When, let's say that does happen and I had to stay home, eventually they're going to wish the other way around. I wish mom was home. It's just what it is.
No, I know.
It's like when you have sunny days all the time. I want the rain.
Yeah.
You get someone from Washington, they're like, bro, I want the sun. It's the same thing.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
It's different. The kids, they can get away with a lot more stuff with me. Because when I'm here, I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
Now more so because I work so much. Sometimes like I just want to relax, and then I can't take for granted when they're like, "Oh, can you play with me?" I'm like, I really don't want to, but we do it because we want to be there.
You're also better at playing though. I'm not like
you were playing games today. That was fine.
Yeah, but I'm just not like a play. I don't know. I never, like, even now, like, the kids are like, what was your favorite toy growing up? I'm like, I don't even really remember my toys. Like, I feel like I've never had that stage of life where I, like, played. I don't remember that. Literally, the only toy that I really remember is, like, baby dolls and a Furby. Like, I don't really remember any other.
Ezio has been asking me to. He's when he'll be at the shop. I don't know if you noticed it, but he'll come around a little bit more, and then he'll be like just paying attention to what I'm doing. And then there's been a couple times here at the house, and he's like, "Dad, will you teach me how to tattoo?" And I'm like, look, and I get asked that, like people that know we have kids. Oh, are your kids gonna grow up to be tattooers? I don't want them to. Now, that's not to say if, let's say I started apprenticing Ezio and or Arabo when she gets older.
Oh God, I hope she doesn't ever want to do that.
She'll be fine. People will know who her dad is, trust me. But I don't want either of them to do it because I know
I don't either, but I'm just saying.
I know the dark side of this industry, but check it out. Every industry has that dark side. Tattooing is not inclusive in that. It's just a different job. But if they were to take off and start kicking ass, I'm not going to stop them.
No.
You know, I'm going to tell them, go all the way. Go all the way. We don't do things 80%. We do it 110 every time.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens, you know.
I just like to not think about that.
Me neither. I don't want them to do that.
Don't ask
but then
me
it's
any
like,
questions.
what do they do? Do they go to college? I'm not saying no, but let's face it. Let's be real. No. College is a little overrated now.
No, I know.
Unless you're going for a specific, like you're going to be a doctor.
Yes, like you have to have a PhD.
But okay, let's just say that. Look at how the world's changed so much. Even if you're a doctor, your job is at risk, depending on your choices in life.
Yeah.
That's insane to me. So I think no matter what they do, we're going to support them, guide them the best we can.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's their life. We may not agree with whatever they decide doing, but I can't even think about that right now. They're like babies in my mind.
They're always going to be my babies,
like,
though.
There's like 20 years.
Too fast.
Yeah. I'm like, no. It's bad enough Ezio. Ezio's already going to be 11. Like, I can't even think about numbers with him.
Yeah.
Because it just makes me emotional. So to think about his job, I'm like, oh God.
All right, Kim, thank you for talking to me today. Even though you're my wife and you live with me, you have no choice. No, of course you have a choice. You don't have to waste your time talking to me. I think it was very special to have you to be the first one. You're the only person in the world besides our kids that matters to me. I would give up everything that I own, the clothes, everything, to make sure you guys are safe and healthy. So this is the most important podcast episode I'll ever make because you're the one.
Yeah.
Without you, I wouldn't be tattooing. I love you. And I don't really know what else to say, but I love you and I thank you for taking me out of the shadows because I had a harder upbringing and you took me out of that. a person I never thought would do that, and you did. And we did it naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So to have you as what is going to be the first episode on the channel is special. And we don't do this for clout. We don't do this for anything but just sharing experiences and talking about things that I feel are important. And just kind of giving people, in this case, a backstory of where we come from. So, yeah, I think that's it. Thank you again, babe, for talking to me.
Well, thank you.
And in true Ben Ochoa fashion, you're the first one, and you just got to give them to me spitball. You already know what I'm going to ask you. And I ask a lot of my clients.
I'm not ready.
You might be one of the clients I've asked this. It's just a fun thing. If you know me, I'm obsessed with zombies and the apocalypse and all that, along with a million other people in the world.
You'll
all right, here it is.
Learn as you continue listening all of his weird interests.
Yes, because it's going to be about everything, pop culture, just life. I don't want it to just be about tattooing. So, all right, zombie apocalypse. Boom, somebody's knocking at the door right now, and it's happening. What are the 5 things that you have on you? It can be anything. You could say a tank, as long as it's real. You can't say a lightsaber. That's not real. Any 5 things.
How much time do I have to think about this?
You gotta think. You can think about all you want. So I'll give you mine. Mine is a backpack. So that was up for debate when I worked at a shop, and then they said, "No, you can't say that because you can put stuff. It doesn't matter. That's one thing."
Yeah.
Okay, and you can't get specific. A backpack with 10 pockets. Mine is a backpack. A purification straw. A flint rod to make fire because flashlights run out of batteries. Like some kind of sword, like katana, like a real one, not like the fake ones, or even like the shorter blade, because it's too long. And then the 5th one, I said purification straw. Did I say that one already?
You already said that.
What was the 5th one then? I did say a flashlight or a gun. So if I had to choose one, like a pistol.
Okay, so mine are very, very similar. Because I would.
You just copied me. I know you did.
No, I was already.
So pistol, flint rod, purification straw. What was the other one I said? Katana and backpack. Those are mine.
Okay, so I would definitely do a purification straw because I am not drinking dirty water. We all know this about me. A backpack because I just think that's practical. You're going to be like looting at different places. You're going to need something to carry all the things you're finding in. Shoes. Is that something that you're like, are you fully clothed?
If you want to whatever you're wearing right now.
Okay, well, I don't wear shoes in the house.
I mean, if you want to list that.
I don't want to list that, but do I have shoes on?
I don't think that what you're wearing should be counted.
Okay. So, flint rod, a backpack, a purification straw. I feel like I wouldn't need a weapon because I'm with you. Like,
I think you should have a weapon, but
then I feel like I would need like a sword or something.
No, you'd kill me. You need like a butter knife or something.
Oh yeah, that's close
Vampire
range.
steak.
I'm gonna get bitten.
Vampire steak.
I'm not gonna be able to aim that at a forehead of a moving zombie. It's like,
like
come on,
Michael Myers knife or something.
That is way too close. I need like extended reach.
Okay, you have the sword.
I'm gonna be like,
won't be inside.
Like right at my head with a knife. No. I'm just gonna say a sword because I don't want a gun. That's gonna attract too many things.
And you'll miss.
Yes, and where's all the bullets? That's not practical.
So I'm just gonna imagine you with a Highlander sword.
What's a Highlander sword?
It's like a 10-foot sword.
I'm not gonna be able to carry that. Come on, it needs to be like.
You'll get strong in time.
No, I'm not dragging it. Like, who does that? That's like, I feel like that's like something historical. I feel like a blanket or like one of those
space blankets.
Yeah, like a space blanket or like one of the not the tents. Like a sleeping bag, like a good sleeping bag. But
Is
that's
that 5?
That's lightweight.
Is that 5?
Yes, like a blanket or a sleeping bag.
You gotta choose. You gotta choose one, man.
Which one will keep you warmer? A space blanket?
The space blankets are pretty wild.
Like, are they really thin though? Like I could.
You can fold it up to the size of a poker card.
What?
Are you insane? Yes. Like a 10 by 10 foot. It's like foil almost.
Yeah, but is that really going to keep you warm in the cold?
Yes, dude. There's a guy that tested out in like 30 degrees temperature, 17 degrees, and it heated up to like 56 degrees in his little.
Oh, wow. Okay, so yeah. So a flint rod, a purification shot, a backpack, a sword, and a space blanket.
There it is. Those are your 5 things.
Maybe I should have said a flashlight.
Well, it's too late. Thank you again, babe, for coming
Thanks.
and hanging out with me.
Thanks for
Even though we
doing
hang out all the time.
every
I love
day.
you. I love you. I love you. And we'll do it again. I'm sure we'll talk about some other stuff. We'll come on here and talk about our trips or if we do some different conventions or stuff like that.
And do a family one with the kids since they're dying to.
Oh, I love it when they're in here.
I know, they're so cute.
Yeah, they're super cute. Maybe we'll share a little gag reel of them dancing.
Oh, yeah, that one is really
Little cutie pies. All right, guys, we're out of here. Thank you again for watching. Everybody who's watched. There's more to come. We'll do it again. And have a good night.
Thanks for stopping by the Manor.
Yeah, the Manor podcast.
Bye,
It's like, all right, later.
Bye.